All right. One person. Who's that? Unknown trader? You never know with these shows anymore. How long it's going to take to get people in here. Hasn't been taking long lately, but sometimes it does. Three people. Sure, all three of you can hit the like button, right? Who we got? Who are the three people? Jump in the chat. Nick Valente, what's up, brother? Can always count on you, man. At least I know you get notifications. No doubt about that. I don't think many other people do, but you do. "46 people. Goes up fast. Guys, please hit the like button on your way in. We'll have another one of these shows, yet another one where everybody in the chat will say the same things, which will then, of course, make it so that I have to give the same responses, and it'll be very similar to the last one. 115 people. Hit the like, guys. Trump, most highly intelligent and amazing man. Yeah, I don't even think you believe that. It sounds like you're trolling. You know, your mom is on the file. See, you see now people like in the last show I had a guy. He said, you know, your problem is that you call people names and you get condescending with people. And why do you do that? That's why. Yes, he is. He is 3 a.m. chicken. He's literally not, but go ahead and grift. He's literally not. Do you guys feel smart when you just say shit without any research whatsoever? I've been sticking around most of the show lately. A lot of laughs. Thanks, Nick. That last debate might have been the greatest debate ever. Tommy Stiggs, my man, congratulations, FBS, on this new venture. I'm actually mentioning you in a positive way on my show tonight. Keep working, kid. It's working for you. Well, that means a lot to me, Tommy. I truly appreciate that, brother. I do. Good luck with everything. I agree they should vote Trump for president. All right. Well, we're beyond that. That's already happened. If it was, it would be everywhere. 3 a.m. chicken. It's everywhere except one place, Fox News. They're not going to show you this stuff. I'm not making this up. Do you think I really just came on here to say Trump's all over the Epstein files and he's not actually all over the Epstein files? This way I can be completely discredited and nobody will ever want to watch again? Or do you think that I might know more than you about this? Because obviously you guys haven't been shown this and you're not going out of your way to find the information on your own. It is everywhere. Yeah, it is. It's literally everywhere. Trump's not all over the files. You have them thanks to him. No. We have them thanks to the Democrats. He is everywhere. Yes. They're pointing at Clinton with less evidence than Trump has stacked against him. Take them all down. MAGA bots hate facts. Yeah, listen, it's just like, I'll show you how blind they are. These are the same people. Every single show, probably 200-300 of them will say, how come Biden or Obama didn't release the files? Think about what I'm telling you. Trump served for 4 years between them. They don't mention his name. They only want to know about Biden and Obama. Now, that's exactly like what you're describing. They'll go through the files and or if they even do, and they'll see Clinton's name and they'll see Trump's name, but they'll only really see Clinton's name. You know what I mean? Trump, it's like, we'll just ignore that. Okay, I'm not a Trump supporter, but your mom is in the files was pretty funny. Just from an objective comedy standpoint, that's bait. You can't be too upset about it. I probably wouldn't be if my mom didn't just pass away recently. And I'm not upset. I don't think it's funny. And of course, that's the kind of sensitive bitch in the chat that if I said something about his mother, he would lose his fucking mind. Let me get down here. Oh, what does this say? Hmm. Okay, I don't know. I don't know. I lost the comment. He's not all over the Epstein files. You think Fox is hiding it when CNN is making up shit. No, I don't rely on CNN. I went to DOJ.gov. That is the Department of Justice website. That's Trump's Department of Justice. And I found the files there because that's where everybody's finding them. And okay, that went out. And I'm very grateful I have the ability to read because I was able to read them for myself. I didn't have to rely on hearing anything from anybody. How many years have Democrats been trying to jail Trump? Answer that. Well, it depends on how you look at it, 46 MD. Like you look at it like it's just a witch hunt. They're trying to jail him. In reality, he's a criminal. And that's why, he's been convicted of felonies and he keeps getting indicted, or he was getting indicted all the time. Like I know enough about the law to know that when you call a state secretary or secretary of state, I'm sorry, and say, find me 11,000 votes. And the guy tells you, listen, we've audited everything. We've done audits. We've recounted time and time again. There's no more votes. Biden won. No. Find me 11,000 votes. That's illegal. I know that hiring for fake slates of electors and starting a riot and doing all that shit to try to overturn a free and fair election, that's illegal. So I saw him commit the crimes with my own eyes. It's like you guys say, what about Russia, Russia, Russia? What about it? The man stood in front of the whole world and said, Russia, if you're listening, please find me the 30,000 emails. You'll be greatly rewarded. That's Russia collusion. I don't need a court or anyone else to tell me that. I know how it works. Okay. If you rape a woman, you might one day be found civilly liable, which he was. If you commit fraud by covering up or as a way of covering up a hush money payment to a porn star, that's illegal. Okay. So they're not trying to put him in jail. They're prosecuting him for his crimes, just like Biden would have been prosecuted or anyone else. He was convicted, just not sentenced because he was elected president. Exactly. Trump appears over 5,000 times in the files. Yeah, it's funny. Believe it or not, we've been saying this on each of the shows, the last 2-3 shows. Trump is actually mentioned in the Epstein files more than Jesus is mentioned in the Bible. That's no joke. That's real shit. How will you feel when civil war is in your neighborhood? There won't be. There won't be. It's so funny how you F words know you're lying, but do it anyway because you think you're being sneaky. Okay, so guys, tell me the general consensus among MAGA in here is that I'm lying. The general consensus among, smart people is that I'm telling the truth. Can you guys tell me? Let's take a vote. How many MAGA people think I'm lying? Put a 1 in the chat. And let me make this clear so we know what the lie is. How many of you think I'm lying that Trump is all over the Epstein files? If you think so, please put a 1 in the chat. Taking notes. The files were curated to implicate the entire circle as blood brothers, mass blackmail, not enough to convict, but an implicit group threat. Or, there's a lot of people in there that just were, hanging out with Epstein and trying to get to his island and stuff like that, which would be, Occam's razor. The simplest answer is usually the correct one. Thank you for the $5, though. He was convicted of 34 felonies. He was. Let me see how many ones. A lot of one, man. Look at all these ones, guys. What do you think they're going to do when I read the stuff from the files to them about Trump? What do you think they're going to do? Only half the files were released. That is true. What a surprise. Trump's Department of Justice is saying, nope, we're not releasing the other 3 million. Now, look at all these ones, man. A lot of ones. There's got to be 60 or 70 ones in the chat. Now, I want you to know who these people are that are saying 1. These are people that don't know that Trump's all over the Epstein files. And in order to not know that at this point, it's because you're trapped in a right-wing media bubble or because you don't listen to, watch, or read anything at all, because it's all over the whole fucking world that Trump is in the files and exactly what he's in there for. And I mean, the conspiracy keeps getting deeper because the motherfuckers now, they're removing the files where he's mentioned for like the most heinous shit. They're removing them. They've removed like 300 files off the DOJ website in the last 48 hours. And I guarantee you they'll remove more overnight tonight. You're a loser, get a life. YOUR. Awesome. Are you insane? No. You're an idiot. Read them. His don't nothing. His don't nothing. You are lying. Prove where Trump is all over. The Epstein, Trump was a CIA informant. Out your receipts, because before you say what comes out of your mouth, and be assured, do your AI research. I don't have to do no research. These are from the Epstein files. Okay. And Trump was not a CIA informant. You guys are so funny. Sometimes he was an FBI informant. Sometimes he was a CIA informant. Actually, this is the first time I heard CIA, but I have a feeling you don't know what the CIA is. He was not an informant in any way, shape, or form. He's never claimed to have been. Mike Johnson said it once, and then Trump corrected him swiftly, and he had to retract his statement. You're going against your own country. It's YOU''RE. And no, I'm not. No, I'm not. No. You guys are traitors to the country. I fight against you guys and Donald Trump. You're all treasonous pigs as far as I'm concerned. So I'm not going against the country. I'm fighting for it. You know? Give the pages so we can fact check you. All right, let me, because they're not on the actual pages, but I can tell you what the document numbers are, and you can look it up by that. What's the number of the document where it talks about Donald Trump measuring girls' vulvas and auctioning them off? The allegations described appear in documents released by the Department of Justice in January 2026 as part of the Epstein Transparency Act. Files specifically identified in the document labeled EFTA. Listen, write it down so you can fact check me. EFTA 01660-679. Write it down so you can fact check me. EFTA 01660-679. The complaint, which is an uncorroborated tip submitted to the FBI, alleges that Donald Trump held calendar girls' parties at his Mar-a-Lago estate where he and Jeffrey Epstein auctioned underage girls. The caller alleged that Trump measured the girls' vulvas and vaginas with his finger to rate them on tightness. These allegations are part of 3.5 million documents released by the DOJ in early 2026 containing tips sent to the FBI National Threat Operations Center. Okay. So it says uncorroborated. That doesn't mean anything. You guys will throw facts out there all day, alternative facts, and say that they're true without corroboration. It means nothing to me. I know enough about Donald Trump to know he's a pedo. So I don't need corroboration. And all that means simply is that they didn't find any other proof. This is also, the people saying this are Trump's FBI and DOJ who will lie for him through their teeth. So there's one. And I gave you the, everything's an allegation. That's how it starts. Did you expect me to read convictions to you? See how you moved the goalpost? He's not in the files. He's not in the files. Oh, but wait, I'm going to read to you the files and I'm going to give you the document number. Well, yeah, but uncorroborated. Well, yeah, but still, it doesn't really matter because the people that are saying it's uncorroborated lie for him constantly. And all uncorroborated means is that they didn't find any further proof. And the crime they're talking about in that document took place like 3 decades ago. So what proof are they going to find? If you saw me murder somebody and you called the FBI tip line and said, I saw him, he murdered somebody, you're telling the truth, right? But if they can't find any other proof, it's uncorroborated. So doesn't mean I didn't do it. So you'll move the goalpost, you'll move the goalpost. You'll constantly, everything I show you, you'll say, yeah, but what about that? But wait a minute, you said he's not in the files. Then I read the files. You say, oh, well, but what did this guy up here say? I don't know. Somebody just made another excuse for it. So you just, no matter what we show you, if I showed you a video of Trump committing this crime, you'll just say, it's not true. I don't believe it. Why didn't Biden arrest them? Well, first of all, you'd have to prove to me that Biden knew he was in the files because any other administration throughout history, the Department of Justice is separate from the White House. The president isn't at the DOJ just, skimming through files. So we have no reason to believe Biden knew that. But I will tell you this. Biden is a pussy, right along with Merrick Garland. They had enough on him that if they would have acted sooner, there's no way Trump could have ran for president again. Okay, he could have been convicted of the Insurrection Act, all that shit. But they didn't because they didn't want to seem biased. They didn't want to seem like they were committing lawfare, the bitches that they are. So do I believe that even if they knew it, they probably wouldn't have done anything? Yes. Yes, I do. No, you're just saying it's not a credible person. That's not what uncorroborated means, and that's not what it says in the files. You're saying it's not credible, and you're nobody, you know? Certified giggle dog, $5. MAGA will never accept it. They're all hypocrites. You do more educating those who are willing to listen. These people are too far gone. I know, but I have fun clowning them and making fun of them and shit. Why didn't DOJ say anything? What DOJ? Biden's? Do you want to hear? I'm going to read it to you. Because if I just say it, you'll say it's bullshit. And I'll read it to you and you'll still say it's bullshit. But I'll do it anyway because we got to go through this on every show. Why didn't Biden release the files? Why didn't the Democrats do this? Why didn't the DOJ do that? All right, let me get to this. All right. The Epstein case was an open criminal investigation during the Biden administration. Now, I should be able to stop there because, as you guys know, if there's any situation where there's an open court case, the files remain sealed until that court case has been adjudicated and all that shit, okay? But I'll go on. The Epstein case was an open criminal investigation during the Biden administration. Miami Herald investigative reporter Julie K. Brown explained on social media, Brown's extensive reporting since 2017 has shown a light on the crimes of Epstein and his longtime accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell. Her book about Epstein, titled Perversions of Justice, is a New York Times bestseller. They had an open grand jury, and even after Maxwell's conviction, the case was on appeal. Anyone in law enforcement knows you don't open your case file while it's still under appeal, Brown added. Now, here's the important part. I know you're not listening, but you might want to listen to this part if you actually care to learn. Victims were still going to the FBI with information during Biden's term, but that changed. You ready for when it changed? Ready? That changed when President Donald Trump's Department of Justice reviewed the files and closed the case in July of 2025. So there's your answer. Now, you'll just say that's bullshit, but you're wrong. That's the answer for why Biden didn't release them. And of course, I'll go over what I went over in the beginning. You guys will ask all day, why didn't Biden and Obama release them? And you'll just totally leave out the fact that Trump was president for 4 years between those two guys. So why didn't he release them? Since it was all Democrats and Bill Clinton and this and that, why didn't Trump release them in his first term? Why did a law have to be passed to force Trump to release them in this term? Why? Guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button and subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. I got a goal for how many subs I want today. Don't let me down. If you're on the good side, if you're MAGA, I don't care. I hate you. But if you're on the good guy's side and you hate Donald Trump and you appreciate that I'm fighting against evil right alongside of you, please hit the like and subscribe. Plus, MAGA hates it. Damn near every show, some maggot says, oh, look, he's only got X amount of likes and so many views. It fucked hard. They say something. So just to make them eat shit, hit the like button. Deflect and distract the Democratic way. Yeah, nobody's doing either of those things. And that's not the Democratic way. That's the Donald Trump way. Like, for example, he deflected and distracted away from the Epstein files for an entire year. He told you there was no files, even after Pam Bondi told you the files are on my desk. And since then, to take the attention off the fact that he broke the law, the Department of Justice broke the law, the Epstein Files Transparency Act, by not meeting the deadline on December 19th. He invaded Venezuela. What else did he do? Jesus, the fact that the list can't come to me. Pretty much every big thing he's done recently is a way to distract from the Epstein files. All that stuff he's doing, it's all nonsense. It's all nonsense. That's why he keeps telling you Obama is going to be arrested, but he never gets arrested, right? Because he knows you guys are dumb and you hate Obama. So he could get your attention away from anything by saying that. And you guys bite every time, and then nothing happens to Biden. And then a few months, or Obama, and then a few months later, he does it to you again, and you fall for it again. Let's see. All the stuff he's doing, but I can't name anything. No, you guys know what I mean. You don't have to take it from me. It doesn't matter if I forget. I mean, everything he's done recently, like, for example, invading Venezuela, that was also to take the oil, but it was also a distraction from the Epstein files. All this nonsense he does on a regular fucking basis, like posts where he tells you again that Obama is going to be charged, or, he creates some sort of distraction. There's always a way. He knows you guys can be, distracted with a shiny object. Basically, you could have your attention taken off of something, so that's what he's been doing. Read the files. He's in there, and more than 1,000 times, more than 5,000 times, actually. Invaded Venezuela on, that's cute. Samsung, pretty sure all the people are celebrating that they are dictator president is gone, and Biden also have the files within his 4 years and still didn't do it. But Trump had the files within his 4 years and didn't do it, plus his first year of his second term. So that's 5 years. You see how you got no point? And yeah, that's one of the reasons he invaded. You know, he doesn't care about Maduro, fuckface. He just had to do something. These files were supposed to be out December 19th, and they missed the deadline. And by the way, when they did come out, they were supposed to be unredacted completely. They released 12,000 pages a couple of weeks after the deadline, and that was 75% redacted. They had until January 2nd to explain the redactions, and they missed that court date too. So it's only Trump that's been covering up these files. And by the way, it's only Trump that ran on this. It's only Trump that ran on this, releasing the files. No, that's what I mean. So you guys don't believe anything I just read you. You don't believe anything in the files, but you believe in Pizzagate still. You believe that there's a cabal of Democrat elites that run a pedo ring out of the basement of a pizza parlor. Am I correct? But you don't believe anything the most perverted man in America was accused of. So I put so much stock on a pedo, you trust what pedos say. What pedo am I putting stock? Who are you talking about? What are you talking about? Can you admit? Oh, he's asking the same question. Yeah, if they spam the chat, guys, just block them. Bill Clinton, what about him? He's in the files too. He should go to fucking jail with Trump. I doubt either of them will, but guys, we don't care. I'll explain to you what I have to explain in every show. We don't care about Democrats or Republicans. If you're a pedophile, you should go to fucking prison. And if Bill Clinton, and he is in many of these things Trump was accused of, he's right there with him. So, yeah, because you got to remember, this is back then when they loved each other. There's literally a picture of Donald Trump grabbing Bill Clinton's balls. I mean, they were extremely close. Do you think Trump should go to prison? Even without the Epstein files, I think Trump should go to prison. And he would have if it wasn't for the fact that he's the luckiest man on planet Earth. Yeah, I know. You wrote it so they could read it. the random capitals and lowercase letters. Admit you didn't even read the files. Well, it depends. Did I read all the files? There's 3 million of them. I'm not Johnny 5. They've been out for about 3 days now. So no, I would have to admit I didn't read all the files. The problem is I read some and you read none. You understand? So, and I'm going to read you stuff, guys. I'm going to show you things. You'll see. Show what pick? The guy that didn't read the file. Yeah. Okay. Show us pictures of Trump and young women. So in other words, if I don't have pictures of Trump and young women, then I'm full of shit, right? There has been thousands of fucking videos and pictures released. The first batch of stuff they put out in the 12,005 documents, they put out a picture of a dresser drawer in Epstein's house. And inside that dresser drawer was 2 pictures of Donald Trump with girls, with their faces blocked out. Overnight, they deleted that file because I guess they didn't realize it was in there, but then they were forced the next day to put it back up. So there's pictures of him with young women. Don't worry. Let me see. This is all bogus, and he needs to repent of his sins and fall on his knees. As for, oh God, there's another gay guy looking for somebody on their knees. Forgiveness for oh, shut up. Fucking shut up with your stupid children's book. Trump was never engaged with Pizzagate. You have confused him with the Clinton. I never said he was, fuckface. I said you guys don't believe anything Trump did or Trump was accused of, but you believe that there was a cabal of Democrat elites that ran a fucking pedo ring out of a pizza parlor's basement. That's what I said. Never did I say Trump was involved in Pizzagate. Pizzagate was fake, dummy. By the way, guys, please hit the like button. There's 1,262 people. And for the love of Christ, I'd appreciate it very much if you would super chat. That way you'll get your comment read because people bitch all day. They can't get their comments read. And I don't know if I put it in the chat yet, but I will. My Cash App, Venmo, and PayPal. These shows do need money to run. I know they're free to watch, but, it's the classy thing to do, just like tipping anybody else. If you're enjoying the show and you want to see more of these, then they all need money, Tipping anybody else. Shut up. All right, let me just put this in the chat. And we'll get back to it, and I'll start reading you some shit. God damn, it's going fast. All right. They've been out thanks to Trump's DOJ. No, they were released 3 days ago, fuckfaced. Oh, my God. And even the DOJ, they were only released because the Democrats forced a vote. The Democrats, there was a discharge petition to force a vote. I can't believe I got to explain this again. It needed 218 signatures. 214 of the signatures were Democrats. The other 4 were Republicans. And Trump tried to talk 2 of those out of actually signing it. Okay. Look at Jason Quinn. This fucking idiot says you're a fool and he spells you're wrong. Mr. Big Boss, $2. I hope only Trump gets arrested. What is that? CPS are cool now. What does that mean? CPS are cool. I don't know. Anyway, thank you for the $2. You're a you see what I mean? You guys will do this. And by the way, you're not bothering me because I'm not. But they'll say this. I'll show them accusations about Trump and they'll say there's no way the most perverted man in the history of America is a pedophile. But then they'll look at me, a guy who they don't know, whose name they don't know, who they've never met. They don't know where I live. They don't know my age. They don't know anything about me. And they'll say, but he is a pedo. See, that's what I mean. So when they say, show me proof, ignore them because they don't need proof for anything. They'll call Biden a pedo all day without proof. They'll call anyone they want a pedo. But when it comes to Trump, you better have rock solid evidence or you're getting sued, bitches. Oh, they're bots, not even based in the U.S. Sorry, I missed these guys. $2. Thank you. Okay. Loud. I'll just call you Loud. $20. Thank you for trying to talk sense into the internet. I try, but it never works. But I try. Thank you very much for that $20. That means a lot to me. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Let me get down towards the bottom. Democrats should be careful. Oh yeah, why is that, Blessed? Tell me why that is. Why should we be careful? I'm gonna wait for this guy's response. I bet you this is some sort of threat. Some fucktard threatened me on the last show. Yeah, like I'm scared of any of you. You actually just need evidence. We have tons of evidence. There is so much overwhelming evidence that Trump is a pedo that it takes me like 10 minutes just to name off the list of everything. How many of the women said he did anything? I'd have to go through and count, but many, several. And that's not even including Katie Johnson, who was raped by Trump and Epstein in 1996. A lot. LOL, 20 is a lot. I don't know if you're being a smart ass or what, but yes, I appreciate every dime that's donated because people don't have to do it. They do it out of the kindness of their heart. And Kyle, the God Rittenhouse is your name? Yeah. They were hidden for 4 years while Democrats had full access and control for them. No, they weren't. I just read that to you, but I'm sure if you heard it, you ignored it. Most likely you didn't hear it, but either way, you're stupid. Because again, Donald Trump had them before the Democrats. So it's your answer there. And of course, I could give you the answer for why Trump and the Democrats didn't release them, but I'm so tired of doing it, it doesn't even matter at this point. Come on, tell me something you ran, Yankee. What does that mean, something I ran? Yankee? Did you just call me a Yankee? What are we, in the fucking Civil War? Yankee. You fucking idiot. Hillbilly motherfucker. Dems don't even want Dems running this country over 40 years, and here you are trying to discredit the greatest president in American history, and there is not a damn thing you can do about it. Yeah, we can vote. And Trump will be out, whether you like it or not, in the next few years, and he'll be mollywopped in the midterms as well. So he's basically a lame duck after the midterms. And he's not the greatest president. 154 presidential scholars rated him the worst president in history, which he is. And how can you say Dems don't want Dems running the country when I'm a Dem and I can tell you, yes, I do. And Kamala Harris only got 2 million less votes than Donald Trump. So that's a lot of fucking people, right? Yeah. Your opinion on the existence of evidence does not will it into existence. I don't have an opinion on the existence of evidence. There's evidence. There's a lot of it, overwhelming amounts. Taking notes, $5. They are not released. They're maliciously Complying only is an extension of the same blackmail Epstein engaged in. 37 participants are in the admin. Are they really 37? Damn. Yeah. Yeah, I guess you could say that. I see what you're saying. Thank you for the $5. She got 2 million less because of no ID states and illegals voting. Illegals can't vote. And no ID. That's literally, you're not supposed to need an ID. It's the constitutional right. You know, everybody has the right to vote over a certain age, right? 18 years old. You have a constitutional right to it. Nowhere in the Constitution does it say you need ID. And I'm not even going to get into why Republicans do that because you'll never understand. But there's 17 states in this country that don't require voter ID. And the Republicans are the ones that want this because let's just say they know the demographics and which groups of people have a state issued ID or a driver's license compared to others. So it's another way of suppressing the minority vote. Illegals can't vote. No, he's not, Lee. I mean, if you had a point, I would respond to it, but he's not. You're just saying he's all over the files. Flat truth, or there's a guy who believes the earth is flat. Look, listen to this. This is one of the dumbest comments I get on a daily basis. Dumbest questions. Biden got 8 million votes more than Harris. Where did those votes go? You know that Trump got less votes than he did the first time too, right? You know that every election, the numbers are different, right? You know that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are not the same person, right? You know that when Biden ran against Trump and got all those votes, it's because Trump just destroyed the entire country by grossly mishandling COVID, right? I mean, do you guys not know? Are you serious? You believe, flat truther, that whatever Biden got in 2020, if it was only legit if Kamala got the same amount of votes, which never happens in an election, never, 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 even within the same party. Nobody gets the same amount of votes every time, and neither did Donald Trump. You fucking idiots. Well, yeah, because the USA dipshit has a constitution that says if you're above the age of 18, basically, I think they made 18 after the Constitution, but in the Constitution it says every man has the right to vote. Period. And then, of course, later on, 1920 or so, women got the right to vote. Okay, so yeah, you know how you guys like to talk about the Second Amendment? You should not infringe on my rights. There's also other amendments. I don't know if you know that. And you're not supposed to infringe on them either. And you have the right to vote without an ID. This guy says, yeah, you would ignore what I just said. Yeah, there's only like 1,000 people watching live. There's probably about 7,000 comments in the chat. I'm definitely looking at every one of them and just ignoring you. Yeah. 8 million what? I don't even remember what we were talking about. Right to vote without an ID. Oh, you mean 8 million more votes? I'm not sure what you're talking about. Listen, she didn't get 8 million less votes if that's what you're saying. I don't know if that's what you're saying. Biden got 8 million more votes than Trump did. There's no question about that. And Trump only got 2 million more than Kamala did. Right to vote without an ID. Yeah, you have the right to vote without an ID. As long as you are legal. Yeah, illegals cannot vote. They can't vote, guys. I mean, the fact that you lack critical thinking skills to the extent where you think an illegal alien can just walk into any random polling place and say, give me a ballot, and then fill out a ballot and turn it in. Do you realize how insanely stupid you have to be to not realize that before you can do that, you have to register to vote? If you're not registered to vote, there's no polling place for you to go to. And when you get there, they're not going to have your name, and they're not going to give you a ballot. The place I go to is 2 blocks from my house. I walk in, there's a giant book. They say, what's your name? I tell them, they look through the book, and when they find my name, I sign it, and then I get a ballot. You understand? Illegals cannot vote. It is against federal law. They cannot vote in federal elections. And if you want to say I'm wrong, before just saying I'm wrong, like the dipshits that you are, how about you go find me any credible source that gives us the amount, for example, even a roundabout figure, a credible source that says X amount of illegal immigrant voters voted in 2024 or 2020 or anytime really after 1996. Go ahead. Find me something. Go find me the percentages. Don't just say illegals voted. How many voted? Where did they vote from? What? Tell me more. Illegals can't vote. The fact that you guys still believe that in the year 2026, I mean, oh my God. I'm not 100% wrong. Illegals can't vote. Illegals can't vote. Yeah, New York City, do you mean in local elections? Not in federal elections. I don't care if you live in New York City. If you're voting for a president, you can't vote as an illegal. You can't. I don't have to show shit when I vote. Yeah, and you're not supposed to have to. Yeah, it's very simple, and I'm not even going to argue it with you. You could look it up for yourself. I know you guys don't know anything. I'm fully aware of that going into every one of these shows, but the Black and Latino communities in this country, there's a smaller or a larger percentage of those populations that don't have a state issued ID or a driver's license than there are white people. Period. The end. You want to argue it? That's fine. 23% of Black people don't have a valid driver's license, and 6.6% of Black people don't have a state issued ID. Latino is somewhere around, I don't know what the exact percentages. Whereas with white people, it's only 3% that don't have one or the other. Okay. Republicans know that. They know the less minorities vote, the more chance they have of winning. So they want to put voter ID in place so that people that don't have an ID for whatever reason, too lazy to go get one, don't have enough money, don't have a ride there, don't have a car to take the test in, whatever it is, they can't vote. It's just more Republican voter suppression like it always has been. That's what they specialize in. You can't buy alcohol without ID, idiot. Yeah, and show me where in the Constitution he calls me an idiot. So in other words, I've explained thoroughly the reason why you don't need an ID to vote, except for in these Republican states that made it that way, is because it's a constitutionally guaranteed right that you have to vote. Says nothing about ID. Okay. Now, this dickhead, false equivalence guy, says you can't buy alcohol without ID, idiot. Well, Angry Jaws, it's not in the Constitution that you have the right to buy alcohol. It's just not there. You see how some things are a constitutional right and some aren't? Yeah. So you're talking about something that is not a constitutional right. You're comparing it to something that is a constitutional right and saying, why do we have to do this thing without and not have to do the same thing for this? And it's absurd. It's absurd. I have to show ID where I live to vote. I live in a Republican state, though, so probably a given. LOL. Exactly. Yeah. They can vote in Washington. It's a one ID state and issues driver's licenses to illegals. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you have a driver's license. You cannot vote in federal elections. It does not matter. Having a driver's license does not make you a citizen. You have to be you have to be a citizen to vote in federal elections. I'm trying to turn this off. Can illegal immigrants vote in federal elections with a driver's license? Oh, come on, man. It's going to make me read it to you. Can illegal immigrants vote in federal elections in the U.S. with a driver's license? Yeah, it's not going to give me a direct answer. I just have to read it from here. Non-citizens have nothing to, well, this is just talking about why they don't do it. But a non-citizen found guilty of this crime may face deportation and revocation of their legal status under immigration law. Falsely claiming U.S. citizenship for the purpose of registering to vote may also result in deportation or denial of future immigration status. The first thing it says, which is very true, is non-citizens have nothing to gain and everything to lose if they vote illegally. It is illegal for non-citizens to vote in a federal election as of 1996. Federal law explicitly prohibits non-citizens from casting a ballot in federal elections. States have multiple systems in place to prevent non-citizen voting, and non-citizens face harsh penalties for voting unlawfully. So in other words, it would have to be so worth it to them that, first of all, they'd have to figure out a way to register without being a citizen, which is incredibly difficult. Okay. Then, even with a driver's license, they have to go to a polling place where, with all the systems they have in place, the place doesn't somehow have a way to figure out if he's a citizen or not, and they give him a ballot. He then turns it in. And then when they're counting those ballots and doing audits and making sure no illegal immigrants voted, he'd have to slide through the cracks somehow, or he's going to prison or getting sent back to a third world country. So you see how it wouldn't be worth it to him? Nobody cares about voting that much. Nobody. I mean, nobody. Illegals can't vote in federal elections, guys. You got it. You have got to, at some point in your lives, you have got to learn something. I mean, you're too old for this shit. You're too old not to know these things. Oh my God, illegal. This again, he doesn't get it. He says, oh my God, illegal aliens doing something. Where is this? I don't know. I lost it. I'll read this one. It's illegal to enter the country through, or I'm sorry, without going through, THREW, like through, not through like THROUGH, the proper channels, yet they do. Yeah, that's because, again, crossing the border by yourself, that's up to you. That's something you could do all by yourself. Voting is not. There's checks in place to make sure that you can't vote as an illegal, and you can't vote as an illegal, period. You understand? It's not about them following the law. It's about, even if they want to break the law, they can't. See what I'm saying? And coming into the country, living your whole life dreaming of entering the U.S. and then doing it, yeah, you're a little more willing to take the risk for doing something like that than for voting illegally. When, again, I know you guys believe they care. They don't care who's in office. They just want to be here and be able to do what they do. This guy, here's the guy. No fucking way. Maybe having an ID to vote. Yeah, again, it's not just about whether they want to commit the crime or not. It's not. It's just there's too many safeguards in place. There's too many. You can't register to vote as an illegal alien. You can't do it. God almighty. A lot of you guys believe that illegal immigrants it doesn't matter if they agree with me. Your opinion means nothing in comparison to a fact. What I'm saying is a fact. What you're saying is an opinion. And the smart people do, believe me, smart people in this chat, meaning the people on the left, they know you can't vote without, or you can't vote as an illegal immigrant. They know you can't. No, it's not just what it said. It explained, that there's safeguards in place. And again, the same argument. It's amazing. Not in sanctuary cities. What about not in sanctuary cities? You can't vote in federal elections either. It doesn't matter where you are. Ryan Davis said, I'm dumb, and he spelled YouR. The politicians letting them in are kept in power by communities of illegals who guarantee them their vote. Try this again. Illegal immigrants cannot vote in federal elections. You understand? Hold on, guys. Do me a favor. Hit the like button and subscribe. I got to get a bunch of subs. And don't be afraid to donate to the show. I'd appreciate it very, very much. I'll even ask Elon Musk's AI. Hey, Grok.
Hey, what's up?
Can illegal aliens vote in U.S. federal elections?
No, it's flat out illegal for non-citizens, illegal immigrants, green card holders, anyone without citizenship to vote in federal elections. Federal law says only U.S. citizens can vote for president, Congress, or anything else on that ballot. The catch? Some cities, like San Francisco...
Local. Oh, I'm sorry. Keep going.
No worries. Yeah, local is the loophole. A handful of places, like D.C., San Francisco, Oakland, let non-citizens vote in city council, mayor, or school board stuff. They argue it's democracy for taxpayers who live there, even if they're not citizens. But federal? Still a hard no. You register, you swear on a form you're a citizen. Lying about it is perjury, plus election fraud. Penalties up to 5 years in prison, fines, And yeah, ice knocking. Real talk though, voter ID laws are patchy. Some states ask for proof, others just take your word. So technically, yeah, an illegal immigrant could slip in, but they'd be breaking federal law the second they check that box. Risky as hell. Anything else bugging you about this?
Is there safeguards in place to make sure that illegals can't vote?
Checking the latest on voter safeguards. Yeah, there are safeguards, but they're not ironclad everywhere. It's a patchwork. Federally, it's illegal for non-citizens to vote, period. When you register, you have to check a box swearing you're a U.S. citizen. Lying's a felony, up to 5 years in prison, fines, and deportation if you're undocumented. That self-attestation, plus the risk of getting caught, is the main deterrent. Studies show actual non-citizen voting is super rare, like handfuls of cases per millions of votes, often mistakes or tiny slip-ups. States handle most of it.
What? Did Elon Musk's AI Grok just say that voting amongst illegal aliens is super rare? Oh my God. It's almost like exactly what I was telling you. You see how you're stupid? Do you understand now? At any point, do you realize, oh my God, look at me. I'm a dummy. I've been walking around for years voting against my own best interest because I think illegals can vote in federal elections. Jesus Christ. Yeah, you do. You do. Thank you, sir. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Even after that, they'll be like, nope. I say illegals can vote. All right. Do you do any real research? Well, yeah, that's why I know things, Faust, and you don't, because I do research and you don't. That's why when you come in here and you hear me say this stuff that I've spent years researching and studying and fact checking and everything else, you don't believe me because you don't do research. So you don't know the stuff I know. You listen to Fox News, they lie to you thoroughly. You believe everything they say, and you believe the world's most pathological liar. And then that's it. You go on your happy way, They're not allowed to, but it still happened. Yeah, as you just heard from Grok, in extremely rare instances. In other words, never outcome determinative. Okay, never. In other words, never to the extent where it could actually change the outcome of an election or even come close. Never. So yeah, in a city or two, maybe one or two guys get through here, one or two there. Yeah, and that's it. That's it. And of course, they've been caught, right? Because if not, we wouldn't have that information that it happens in rare instances. They must have found out, oh my God, look, this guy voted. Now his vote doesn't count. Understand? They still think the ladies that won $80 million are guilty. Oh, I know that. What's her name? Yeah, the woman and her daughter in Fulton County or wherever in Georgia. Yeah. Nobody in the entire history of voting never used a dead man's identity. It wouldn't work. It simply wouldn't work. They catch these things. See how you move the goalposts? I proved to you illegals can't vote. So now it's like, well, what about dead people using fake identities? It can't happen. There was one lady Fox News talked about. They said she voted under her dead husband's name and blah, blah, blah. And then when law enforcement or whoever, the government looked into it, they saw that her whole life she voted as Mrs. her husband's name. Okay, whatever her husband's first and last name was, she had done the same thing, but he had died before she cast that vote. So they said, oh my God, she voted as a dead person. No, she voted with her husband's name the same way she always did. And that's why nothing happened to that woman. Dude, you're a YOUR about the biggest dumbass on Instagram. Oh my God. Could you imagine a guy calling you dumb and he can't spell your, plus he doesn't even know what platform he's on? This guy called me a dumbass and he thinks he's on Instagram. This is YouTube. I'm not on Instagram. Buck Rogers. Oh, your name is Buck. I understand. You're retarded. I get it. What about all the dead people still collecting Social Security? Yeah, that was debunked. They're simply not. They're just people's names are just in the system still. People had died. They're not collecting money. All that Doge shit was found to be complete and total nonsense. That's why Elon said he'd find 1 trillion in waste, fraud, and abuse, and he found like 200 billion. And the agency itself, the department itself, wound up costing us more than we found in waste, fraud, and abuse. And the shit they called waste, fraud, and abuse wasn't. You know, so yeah. Critterbug, I'll check them out. Doesn't mean they're right. And even if it does, again, nothing outcome determinative. So nothing that changed the results of an election. My wife is should be on her way home. Why are you worried about it, John Briggs? FBS right-wing think tank, the Heritage Foundation, conducted a strenuous investigation into voter fraud and found 9 cases. Yeah, 9 cases. Yeah. You realize that Trump, even after 2020, he hired a firm to find voter fraud in the election because he would have done anything to overturn it. When that firm came back to him and told him we didn't find anything, he fired them. Yeah. 200 billion what? Yeah, only two. Well, yeah. In comparison to a trillion, it's only 200 billion. You stupid fuck. He said he'd find a trillion. He only found 200 billion, and that was not waste, fraud, and abuse. They were just cutting agencies. Like, for example, vet lovers. They fired tens of thousands of veterans. They decreased funding to the VA. Vet lovers. Now we know you won't be bothered by that because it's Trump, but that's what they called waste, fraud, and abuse. That's just one of the things. Yeah. Are you in favor to Trump? Want to know what that means? See what I mean, guys? And then they say, why do you call people names and stuff? No reason. You know, guys like this, they're all class, you know? Fucking degenerate. You couldn't even get pussy or anal, you fucking freak. Oh, unless it was from a guy. I'll look at the stupid maggots trying to spam the thread because they lost the argument. Yeah, they always lose the argument. And again, I could read them stuff from the Epstein files now too, and it won't change anything, you know. I come on here to make money, you know what I'm saying? You understand waste is a broad topic like overseas gay studies and encouragement. Yeah, well, that wasn't even a thing. That was not a thing. That's something that was made up by the right. So you shouldn't have to worry about that. And yeah, waste, fraud, and abuse. I know what they cut, and I know it wasn't waste, fraud, and abuse. We were providing funding for medication for babies that were born with HIV. And we cut that funding through US aid, and 300,000 babies have died because of it. So you might call that waste, fraud, and abuse. And I know you'll say, oh, it's another country, but you don't see how that could benefit us, stuff like that, to slow down the AIDS epidemic and shit like that. You don't think? No. The fact that it's not a thing makes it not a thing. This is like, you guys also believe that we gave $7 million to study transgender mice. Meanwhile, it was transgenic mice. You know, transgender mice. They listen to Trump. Hey, how many of you guys in the chat believe that we funded transgender mice? No, they wouldn't have. They wouldn't have, because we've been providing that money for a long time, and it saves those babies' lives because it stops them from getting AIDS, which kills them rather quickly because they're babies. So no, they're dying because U.S. aid was cut. That's right. All the evidence is fake. FBI tips, no, not equal proof. You small brain, docile, meant to disabled bull. Okay. Well, if it was about Biden in there, still wouldn't believe it. Yeah, I bet. He didn't even read the files. Okay, well, I'm gonna read them to you in a minute. You don't think the juicy shit on Trump and the files weren't destroyed? Not all of it, because I have some. What are you guys? You've got to be fucking kidding me. Are you seriously telling me that there's people in this country that whined and pissed and moaned about seeing the files for years, and you still haven't looked at them now that they've been available for 3 whole days? Are you fucking kidding me? You guys don't know it? This guy just said there's no juicy stuff. All right, let's get to it. I've been trying to put this off. Guys, do me a favor and hit the like and subscribe. It's very important. Look what I got to deal with. Fucktards all day. I deserve it. And if you can, please send a super chat, or in the chat there is my PayPal, Cash App, and Venmo. If you're enjoying the show, I'd appreciate it. It's a way to contribute, and it would mean a lot to me. All right, let me get to this shit. So the first thing, and I'm going to try to read different stuff than I do on every other show. Actually, yeah, I'm going to start with that right now. Let me see. See if there's other stuff I haven't read yet. Yeah, I think I got to go through all of it. Jesus. All right. Redacted reported an unidentified female friend. Now watch how they say all this is bullshit because of certain things that are said and all what. I already know what they're going to do. You do too. Watch. And meanwhile, what they said is he's not all over the files. Now I'm going to prove he's all over the files. And they're just going to say, well, yeah, he's all over the files, but there's not this, or there's not that. Redacted reported an unidentified female friend who was forced to perform oral sex on President Trump approximately 35 years ago in New Jersey. The friend told Alexis she was approximately 13 to 14 years old when this occurred, and the friend allegedly bit President Trump while performing oral sex. The friend was allegedly hit in the face after she laughed about biting President Trump. The friend said she was also abused by Epstein. Spoke with caller who identified, redacted. Lead was sent to Washington office to conduct interview. Okay. All right. At age 16, while modeling, caller attended 8 parties at Epstein's New York residence. On one occasion, caller reported she was essayed, we'll just say, by Epstein. On another occasion, 2 twin brothers, Alan and Orrin, lured caller and her friends upstairs, but they escaped back downstairs. Caller stated Orrin raped the R word, her best friend, and a third brother, Tal, raped a 14-year-old named Katie. Caller named other individuals involved in big orgy parties with her, other young girls, and older Victoria's Secret models, including Bill Clinton and Donald Trump. I don't know why they made it sound like Bill Clinton and Donald Trump are Victoria's Secret models, but online complainant reported she was a victim and a witness to a sex trafficking ring at the Trump golf course in Rancho Palos Verdes, I don't know how to California, between 1995 and 1996. Complainant reported Ghislaine Maxwell as the madam and broker for sex parties, clients of whom included Epstein, Robin Leach, and Donald Trump. Complainant reported participating in orgies and that some girls went missing, rumored to have been murdered and buried at the facility. Complainant reported being threatened by Trump's then head of security that if she ever talked of what went on there or who she saw, she would end up as fertilizer for the back 9 holes like the other cunts. Those are the exact words. Let me see. What's this say? Let me see. Complainant reported his ex-girlfriend's daughters were victims of Epstein's, and one was murdered. While working as a limousine driver, complainant recalled picking up Donald Trump in 1995 to take him to Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. During that ride, complainant recalled some of the things Trump spoke about on his cell phone were very concerning and described being a few seconds from pulling the limousine over on the median and within a few seconds of pulling him out of the car and hurting him due to some of the things he was saying. Complainant noted Trump repeatedly stated the name Jeffrey while on the phone. One of complainant's ex-girlfriend's daughters told complainant Trump raped her, as did Epstein. Caller is talking about crimes committed against her. She claims to be a prisoner. She references Lisa Marie Presley, the British royal family, President Trump, and Jeffrey Epstein. Complainant following up after a call with NYPD officer regarding her previous tip, reporting that she was forced to perform oral essay Well, sex acts. I can't, that doesn't work for essay. When she was 13 years old and pregnant in 1984. Complainant also reported there were high-profile individuals involved in her sex trafficking and the murder and disposal of her newborn daughter. Complainant reported Donald Trump participated regularly in paying money to force her to perform sex acts with him, and allegedly Trump was present when her uncle murdered her newborn child. Caller was taken by boat to Epstein's Island. Caller said it was complicated and involved Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. A caller became a school counselor and had a meeting with the school principal, Linda Katz, and a police officer where the caller was informed there were pictures of herself. Hold on. I got to find the other page of that. Pictures of herself with Epstein. Let me see, 390 people. Guys, please hit the like and subscribe. It's very, 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 very important. Please do that. Thank you. With Epstein, caller reported the school was mad at her for not being a Trump person and that the school wanted her to testify and say things against Andrew Cuomo. The FBI and Donald Trump were on the phone during the meeting. Caller believes the FBI has baby pictures of her with Epstein. Caller reported that in 1987, a friend, Victim 1, was out drinking and ended up at Trump Plaza. Victim 1 saw Donald Trump and wanted to meet him. An unknown man approached her and offered to introduce her to Trump. The unknown man gave Victim a drink, and Victim 1 woke up naked and sore with $300 on the bed. Victim 1 didn't remember how she got to the room. She remembered seeing a flash of Trump's face. Victim 1 called the caller and told her she thought she had been raped. Victim 1 did not go to the hospital to have a rape kit performed because she didn't think anyone would believe her, especially because she was drunk. Victim 1's husband's business had problems with suppliers, and Victim 1 believed Trump was behind it. Victim 1 also started dating a lawyer, identifier is unknown, who was married. Victim 1 had a fight with her lawyer boyfriend and went to a bar. Victim 1 left the bar with a man who no one in the bar recognized, but who seemed familiar with Victim 1. Victim 1 was never seen again. A few years ago, remains were discovered that matched the description of what Victim 1 was wearing when she went missing. So there's some more I could read because she wasn't raped, see? And that's how you guys are. Any woman says she was raped and you say she wasn't, but if this was Biden, if this was said about Biden, you'd say without a doubt, 100%, you would state it as a fact that Biden definitely raped her. But because it's Trump, you're like, nah, she wasn't raped. Because you guys, listen, man, there's a reason sometimes I seem exhausted on these shows. It's because for a thinking person to have to wake up every day and deal with motherfuckers like you, it is exhausting to try to figure out how it is possible that people as horrible as you actually exist on this planet. I mean, people who are just the lowest of the low, the dumbest, stupidest, sickest people in the country, and you stand for absolutely nothing. You wanted the Epstein files, you wanted the Epstein files, you wanted the Epstein files. You got them, and now because it's Trump in them, you don't care about the Epstein files, and you deny anything Trump did. Even though Trump is a lifelong pervert, sexual deviant, predator motherfucker. He's been accused of sexual assault 28 times since the 1970s, not since he started running for president. His wife, Ivana, said in 1989 in court filings that he brutally raped her. He was accused of brutally raping Katie Johnson with Epstein in 1996. He was found civilly liable for sexually assaulting E. Jean Carroll. He cheated on all his wives. He spent his daughter's whole life talking about wanting to fuck her. He looked at a 10-year-old girl on Entertainment Tonight and said, I'll be dating her soon, stuff like that. But it's like, no, there's no way Trump could have done any of this stuff. I mean, he is a pervert and a freak and a guy who wants to have incest with his own daughter, but there's no way he would do anything creepy like this. Well, none of these are tied to lawsuits, Tamara. So that's where you're wrong. These are not, there was no law, except Katie Johnson was a lawsuit and she dropped the lawsuit. She was getting death threats and everything else, but these aren't for lawsuits. These are just people reporting things. So there goes that. And by the way, you could use that, but how come Mark Cuban never got accused of these things? How come Jeff Bezos never got accused of these things? I can't say Elon because Elon is all over these files too. And holy shit, the man is literally begging to go to Epstein's Island. And Epstein is pretty much, I guess he shot him down. It's funny you guys say this happens. It's all about money and, oh, he's a rich guy, but it doesn't happen to many rich guys, does it? Not like this. I can't name a single rich businessman who was accused of sexual assault this many times. I also can never, I can't tell you about one I've seen say, my daughter has a very beautiful figure. I've said if she was not my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. I never heard another guy let Howard Stern call his daughter a piece of ass, and then the guy himself, the father, went on talking about what a voluptuous figure she has. You know, I never heard a guy brag about walking in on naked 15-year-olds in beauty pageant dressing rooms, but Donald Trump, he's the only one. You know, I never heard of any of these rich guys brutally raping a girl when she was 13. Just Trump. Ain't that some shit? And of course, don't let me leave out the fact, not the opinion, that Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein were best friends. There's an audio recording of Jeffrey Epstein saying it, and there's videos to prove it. There's videos from the 90s where Trump and Epstein are at parties together dancing. Trump's pointing out at chicks. Look, she's hot. He says stuff like that. And then in 2000, Trump said Epstein is a great guy to be with, which is an odd way to put it. I would never say be with. I would say hang out with or something. But Epstein is a great guy to be with. It is even said he likes women on the younger side. It is even said he likes beautiful women as much as me, and many of them are on the younger side. And you'll say, well, he's talking about 18, 19, 20. Jeffrey Epstein's the most prolific pedo in history. So when a guy says Jeffrey Epstein likes women on the younger side, he's talking about girls. He's not talking about women. Anyone who defends Trump should be investigated. I agree. If you don't like Trump, stop the deep state demonic rats. You guys can't get it right. Listen, it's got to sound like Democrats, fuckface. Like I would call you a Republican or a retardlican. That's funny. Demonic crats, that's not funny. Democrats is the best I've heard, and even that sucks. You know, somebody came in here yesterday and they spelled the word Democrats. They just capitalized the RATS, and he thought he was clever. And meanwhile, it was still spelled Democrats. And there are emails including that Trump and Epstein were still in contact and hanging out after their supposed falling out. Yeah, and Epstein's own brother said in an interview recently that Trump and Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein, had a phone call, and Trump told him all about the election. This was in 2017. So, you know, he is destroying the country. What do you mean running the country? He is absolutely destroying the country. Yes, you're correct. He is. Trump and Epstein spit roasted Melania. Well, Melania, it was proven in those files that Melania met Trump through Epstein, which is exactly what Michael Wolff said. Or was it Hunter Biden? And Melania said, I'm going to sue you. And then she never sued. Yeah. The shit needs to be called the Trump files. As much as he's in there, I don't care, because Hunter Biden was never the president. You know what I mean? Just like if Don Jr. had some shit on his laptop, which I'm sure he does, I really don't care, because Don Jr. is not the president. He holds no position of power. All I know is that Joe Biden is the one I'm concerned with, because he was the president. And a Republican House Oversight Committee investigated him thoroughly to check if there was ever any payments made to him through his son, to check if he had any connection to any of Hunter's dealings, and they cleared him of any wrongdoing. A Republican House Oversight Committee, which is why for 4 years they talked about impeaching Trump, but they decided to never even take a vote on it because they wouldn't get enough votes. You know, so Redumlican. That's okay. That's not too bad. Demon rat. The demon rat's okay. You know what I mean? Even demon crats. It sounds stupid, but you know, demonic rats, that's dumb. That doesn't make sense. It's supposed to sound like the word. It's like, it sounds totally different. Why don't you just call them jerk offs? You know what I mean? Why just leave the word Democrat out of it completely if it's not going to sound anything like it? Dumbass crats. Dumbass crats is okay. That's not bad. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Be creative. I'll laugh at anything if it's funny, but be creative. Trump thinks them plotting against him is a safe. What do you mean? Epstein is not even here no more. The guy is dead. Leave him alone. Leave the most prolific pedophile in American history alone. No. I don't let those types of crimes go just because a guy's dead. I've never been on Snap. I make way too much money to be on Snap. Calendar girl events at Mar-a-Lago. Yeah, I read that part, right? Did I read that part? Behavior bender, did I? Let me see. Donald Trump, the president, had parties at Mar-a-Lago called calendar girls. Jeffrey Epstein would bring the children in and Trump would auction them off. He measured the children's vulva and vaginas by entering a finger and rated the children on tightness. The guests were elder men and included Elon Musk, Don Jr. Trump, Ivanka Trump, and Eric Trump were there. Attorney Alan Dershowitz was also there with attorney Bob Shapiro. We were taken in rooms, forced to give oral sex to Donald Trump, forced to allow them to penetrate us. I was 13 years old when Donald Trump raped me. Ghislaine Maxwell was also present. So, you guys want to go back to the beginning and tell me how Trump isn't all over the pedophiles, the Epstein files again? Because I just read you some. I read you like 20% of it. So, as I said, Trump is all over the Epstein files. Word has it Epstein is in the Trump files. Possibly. Trump is the Antichrist. Who else could do so much evil and get away with it? Yeah, he just, I don't believe in none of that stuff, but I'm starting to. Elon hated Trump until recently, you moron. Elon hated Trump until recently. I'm trying to figure out what that has to do with anything. What does that have to do with anything, Anna? You dumb bitch. Just out of curiosity. Elon hated Trump until recently. I don't understand. What the fuck are you talking about? Who said anything about... Okay. There's victims in the files claiming they hear radio frequency in their head and hear people saying nasty things to them. Yeah. Not victims that accuse Trump of any of this stuff. Somewhere in the files, you might be telling the truth, but chances are you're lying. Mom Dami's mom is a pedophile. Yeah, no, she's not. Research the secret dark fundings. No. Only a leftard believes you're bullshit. Let me know when you can figure out what a woman is more. A woman is anyone born with female reproductive organs. How'd that work out for you? Trump is not in the files. Well, I just read a bunch of stuff, so there's no question about whether he's in there anymore. He's in there. It's on the departmentofjustice.gov. If you guys go to Google and put in doj.gov Epstein files, and it'll bring you right to the Epstein library where you can search Trump's name. Of course, they just deleted 300 pages, but I have a feeling they're going to have to put those back up. Yeah, I know. You believe this, dickhead? We're fortunate to have Trump. Trump shit himself on TV today. The end of Trump will soon happen. Was that today or yesterday? He did, though. He shit himself on camera. They rushed all the media out, and the woman behind him was like, yeah, he shits himself regularly. He wears diapers. I mean, there's no question. Looking forward to Trump's obituary. A lot of people are. So I call you a coward for not addressing real questions, but you can call people a dumb bitch. Got it. Cole. There's still, at this point, about 300 people watching. There are thousands of comments that have been through here. I know you probably think you're very important. I don't. I look down upon people like you. That's number one. Number two, I haven't even seen your name yet, which means I haven't seen one of your comments yet. And the fact that you believe you're so important that of all the thousands of comments, I'm looking for yours tells me what a true fucktard you actually are. Unbelievable. What the fuck? Where's that dumb bitch at? Where's she at? She never got back to me, I guess, huh? Probably to some extent. I mean, I don't know about behind all of it, but are there people that are involved in stuff? Probably. There have been accusations against since 1980s, you dim-witted maggots. 70s, actually. Will you talk about the raid on the election office in Georgia? Yeah, it's just bullshit. They're trying to get a hold of the voter rolls so they can cheat in the midterms. That's it. So they're going everywhere. They're trying to take these voter rolls. I believe they're trying to do it somewhere in Texas too. And where else are they talking about doing it today? Yeah, anywhere Trump thinks he's going to lose, they're just, and plus Trump wants to try to manipulate evidence and all that so he can finally prove that he actually won the 2020 election because he is the most petty man on planet Earth and he can't let that go. He lost fair and square and he just can't let it go. So there's not much to talk about. It's bullshit, and that's it. There was nothing that changed the election that they needed to do the raid on that office. Nothing. There's nothing at all. The only thing shady that went on was Trump trying to steal the election by trying to get Raffensperger, the Secretary of State in Georgia, to find him 11,000 votes. Search Clarence Thomas data set 10. Trump's name is in that one still. EFTA. Oh, really? Oh, shit. I want to get that. Yeah, I hope a lot of people, man, are coming, going on there and screenshotting everything and downloading everything because they're removing all these fucking files. Thank you, Lena Gamer. I appreciate you very much. Please hit the like and subscribe. Clarence Thomas data set. I'll have to go to the DOJ.gov. Hold on. You think Vance changes his diapers? I don't know who does. I know Melania doesn't because she refuses to even live with him. Let me see. Nice egghead. Oh, who's this? SoFlo? SoFlo, you see, I posted a picture of your fat wife, right? How do you like that? You stupid Cuban fucktard. All right, let me see. Do you think anyone is going to get arrested because of the Epstein files? Probably not. But probably a lot of this stuff is past the statute of limitations. But maybe so. I don't think Trump. Nothing's going to happen to Trump. They won't allow it. He runs everything. The Department of Justice works for him. They're not supposed to. They're supposed to be a separate entity. But they take orders from him. He put out a social post months ago that said it was supposed to be a private message to Pam Bondi, but he's an idiot. So he put it on Truth Social for everyone to see. It said, Pam, basically, what's going on? Nothing's happened to my enemies. It makes us look weak. James Comey, Letitia James, John Bolton need to be indicted. 5 days later, Letitia James and James Comey were indicted, and John Bolton's office home was raided. And of course, they fucked that up too. So Letitia James and James Comey's cases were dropped. So this is not the way it's supposed to be. Trump put Pam Bondi in charge of the DOJ because she's a loyalist and she'll do whatever he says. The reason he likes her is because she took a $25,000 fucking bribe from him. Okay. So, it's just the way it is. I mean, Pam Bondi is a cunt and, she does whatever Trump tells her. And yeah, that's a problem. No, that's not true. Why? Who said that? If Bill Clinton or anybody's in there, but forgive me for focusing on the leader of the free world, not so much a guy who was president 26 years ago or some computer dude, or I'm more concerned with the guy who is in charge right now, the guy who is destroying our country, the guy that has, innocent people getting their heads blown off in the middle of the street in broad daylight. You understand that Trump is the most important person in the files, right? So that's who everybody is focused on, everybody. The thing with you is you're probably focused on any Democrat, no Republican, and especially not Donald Trump. Joe Dirt 199, I think Epstein is alive. Might be right, bro. Maybe. I think the president is the leader of the free world. Get real. Yeah. You don't know that the U.S. president is the leader of the free world? All right. He asked me if I think. No. I know. He's the leader of the free world. Trump is saving the country. Of course, don't be stupid. Now, how's he doing that, considering that everything is worse than it was under Biden as far as the economy? The only thing cheaper is gas and eggs. Groceries are up. Utilities are up. Unemployment is the highest it's been since 2021. Brand new cars cost more, rents, mortgages are more expensive, everything. His jobs numbers are horrible. He's losing jobs. He lost 110,000 jobs in November. Even Fox News had to report it. They couldn't deny it. You know what I mean? How's he saving the country? Oh, because he's deporting Mexicans. Yeah, I'm sure that's what you're going to say. It's not a crime to party with Epstein. Yeah, Todd Blanche said that today, right? Fucking piece of shit. It's also the fact that all the emails and the files, none of them can be factually proven, and the FBI has deemed none of it to be credible enough for action to be taken. Well, I simply don't. I don't care. You know what I mean? I don't. Just like you guys wouldn't care if it was Biden or somebody like that. Except I don't care based on other things, not just the bias. I don't trust the FBI, and it's funny because neither do you guys. But when they say something you like, their word is gold. I don't trust the DOJ. I have no reason to. The people that had these files are Trump's people. Before the release, the people that did the redactions are Trump's people. Todd Blanche said there's 3 million more files and he won't release them. Imagine what's in them if all this shit on Trump is in the first 3 million. Okay? So all that means is that they couldn't find anything. It's just like I said, you could call the cops today and say, I murdered somebody. And maybe I murdered somebody and you saw it. Let's say it really happened. You can call the cops and tell them, hey, he murdered a guy today. I saw it with my own eyes. But if there's no evidence to back it up, if it's just your word against mine, it means nothing. That's all that means, is that it's credible enough. That's not what they said. They said it's not corroborated. So it just means there's nobody else to, like they just can't take one person's word for it. There's no other evidence found. It does not mean it didn't happen. I base my opinion on this on everything I know of Trump, and Trump is a sexual deviant and a sick fucking pervert. He is. I need a little break here.
Charges that Jeffrey Epstein was running a sex trafficking ring in the early 2000s that included underage girls as young as 14 years old.
Donald Trump in 2002 said of Epstein, he's a lot of fun to be with. It's even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side.
He routinely spoke fawningly of Jeffrey. He admired Epstein's lifestyle.
Your daughter, she's beautiful. Can I say this? A piece of it.
Yeah. She's actually always been very voluptuous.
What does Tiffany have of Marlon?
She's got Marlon's legs. We don't know whether or not she's got this blood yet.
You were playing tennis and you came off the court. Quote, look at that piece of I would love some of that. It so happened that Trump was referring to Cohen's then 15-year-old daughter, Samantha.
I had the impression that he was interested in younger women and that, women would age out for him.
Miss Teen Universe? Yeah, that's like giving Jeffrey Dahmer a cooking show.
I'll go backstage before a show, and everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. I stayed there with no sweat.
Donald Trump is heard making questionable comments about a young girl.
You're going up the escalator? I'm going to be dating her in 10 years.
A lawsuit against the presumptive GOP nominee alleges he raped a girl when she was 13 years old.
Prince Andrew answering questions for the first time about his friendship with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
I don't know Prince Andrew, but it's a tough story.
Trump has been photographed with Prince Andrew as far back as the year 2000.
Ghislaine Maxwell is accused of helping Epstein sexually abuse underage girls.
I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach, and I guess they lived in Palm Beach. But I wish her well.
You know about sexual predators and things like that. I mean,
you are one.
All right, I was going to say that, but it's true.
Do you imagine the guy? If that doesn't tell you shit, just stuff like that. The guy sat there and said, from the Oval Office, I don't know Prince Andrew. I've never met him. And sure enough, there's pictures going back 20 fucking years of him with Prince Andrew. The guy lies through his teeth. In his first term, he lied 3,600 and something times in 4 years. And he spent 284 days of his first term playing golf. 30,000 times. I mean, the guy stands on TV and tells you guys, I'm going to lower your prescription drug costs by 1,500%. That's mathematically impossible. That would mean the drug companies are going to be paying you a lot of money to take their drugs. And you guys see that shit, and it doesn't even bother you. You don't say, You probably don't even realize it's mathematically impossible. You're not bright people. But for the ones that are, you don't look at that and say, there's something wrong with this man. There's something wrong that he does shit like this. This does not make sense. This is not how a normal person acts. They don't say bizarre shit like that. This is not a man in his right mind to say, I'm going to save you 1,500% on prescription drugs. I mean, this is,
The president of Venezuela called the strike on the boat illegal. Are you concerned that Maduro might escalate something?
No, what's illegal are the drugs that were on the boat and the drugs that are being sent into our country. And the fact that 300 million people died last year from drugs, that's what's illegal.
300 million people died from drugs last year. Now that video is from 2025. So he's talking about 2024. What do they mean right there, guys? There's 340 million people in the entire country. He just said 300 million of them died. What do you mean I changed topics? From what? I'm going to different videos. What topic? What do you want to talk about? So what does he mean when he says 300 million people died last year? Is he lying, or is he demented? Does he have dementia? Let's hear you actually. Well, Keith Baker, there's stuff in the files now, and he probably is, and I hope he goes to prison for the rest of his fucking life if he is. He's a scumbag, Clinton. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care. But there hasn't been these types of accusations against Clinton. There hasn't been. There's no underage person ever accused Clinton of sexually assaulting him. Never. He got a blowjob in the Oval Office from a consenting adult. That's it. Now there's stuff in the Epstein files about him. And he should, if he did something wrong, he should go to fucking jail. All of them can. Keith, we're not here to stand up for Democrats. I'm here to stand up against pedophiles. I don't give a fuck. If you're a pedo, you should die. Doesn't matter to me if you're Bill Clinton or Donald Trump. Doesn't matter. No presidential candidate ever lied for votes. This wasn't for votes. He's been saying this recently. He said it throughout his first term. That video right there where he talked about 300 million people dying, that was from like 6 months ago. Okay. The stuff about the 1,500% drug prices, he says that still. He says it almost every few days on TV. I'm lowering your prescription drug prices by 1,500%. It's not to get votes. He already won. And nobody really voted for him. Elon bought 220 million fraudulent ballots. That's a very confusing one because 220 million people didn't vote for Trump. As a matter of fact, I don't think altogether 220 million people didn't vote. Jerry, frontal lobe dementia. Yeah, well, that's what he has. John Robertson, do you know how much fentanyl comes from Venezuela into this country? Of all the fentanyl that comes into this country, do you know how much comes from Venezuela? I mean, of course you don't, because you say something like that. Less than 1% of all the fentanyl that comes in this country. Venezuela is not big with fentanyl. They're not. Less than 1%. And there's no proof that there was drugs of any kind on any of those boats that were blown up. Okay. That's another distraction from the Epstein files. So 40 million people are not alive because of Venezuelan fentanyl, I guess, not getting here. Like, you think those boats couldn't have made it to the U.S. You know that, right? So they weren't coming here, and they didn't have drugs on them as far as we know. So when you say that, you're so funny because you say it like as if you know that 40 million people are alive because of, I guess, blowing up those boats, which is something Trump would tell you. And it's not even true. It's not even true. You know, less than 1% of fentanyl comes from Venezuela. Yeah, I know it is. He didn't say that. If he did, he just made a mistake. But I don't know of him ever saying that. But again, you can't defend Trump, so you just say, what about Obama? So many people hate Trump. If everyone hates him, don't you think evidence on him on the island would be released way before now? No. We go through this every show. If you want to see, rewind, and you'll see why the Epstein files weren't released until the Democrats forced it and made the DOJ release them. Because, you can't open files on a case that's still open. And they didn't close the case until July of 2025 when Trump was in office. And that's why all of a sudden it became such a big deal to release the files. Well, that's because you're an idiot. I'm not lying at all. You're just too stupid to know what I'm saying. The blue dot cult. I don't even know what that is. Anyway, he said 300 million people died in this country last year and in 2024. And, in the whole entire world, only 62 million people died. So that's your president. Yeah. Fentanyl is not, it doesn't come from Venezuela, guys. You don't even know that. Most fentanyl comes through the southern border, and from China. So yeah, they don't care. They don't care. Well, only 62 million. You make a great stance for a moron. You can't even read and write. Look what you just said. Wow, only 62 million. You make a great stance for a moron. And of course, if you debated me, I would fucking eat you alive. You know I would. But yeah, 62 million when he said 300 million, and he meant America. I'm telling you, in the entire world of every cause, 62 million people died. He said 300 million. What about this?
3 and 4. We're scheduled to be at 4%, which is pretty amazing because we have a deadhead Fed hair. I mean, this guy, the head of the Federal Reserve.
Deadhead Fed hair.
And I left Louisiana and I went to Puerto Rico and I met with the president of the Virgin Islands. These are people that are incredible people. They've suffered gravely. And we'll be there. We're going to be there.
Yeah, he's the president of Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, but he doesn't know that. Yeah. But every now and then he does say the right thing. He says something that's completely lucid and it's true 100%. It doesn't happen often. It's rare, but every now and then he speaks the truth.
Smart people don't like me, and they don't like what we talk about.
Now, here's an interesting one. Since we're talking about the Epstein files, I wonder why Epstein did this.
3 and 4. We're scheduled to be at...
What the fuck? Where'd it go?
Have you ever had a personal relationship with Donald Trump?
What do you mean by personal relationships?
Have you socialized with him?
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever socialized with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18?
Though I'd like to answer that question, at least today, I'm going to have to assert my 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights, sir.
Yeah. The first question was no problem. The second question, when it came to children, I have to, the Fifth Amendment. Rampage Steve, $5. Didn't Trump recently say he knew he wasn't going to heaven? Oh, he said it 4 or 5 times. Yeah, in the last 6-7 months. He said, I think he said it twice, to be honest. The first time he said, they told me I'm not doing so good, which he probably meant his health. He said, I don't think I'm going to make it to heaven. And then the next time he was on Air Force One and he said, I don't think anything will get me into heaven at this point. So he knows he's the devil. You know what I mean? He knows that. When will the Democratic Party care about men's issues? Trump was the strongest Republican. The Democratic Party needs to care about men's issues and vote for a leader like JFK. Trump has problems. Trump was not the strongest Republican. And what do you mean by men's issues? I'm curious. And thank you again, Rampage Steve. He is the president of everywhere. He's the world's president. Bottom line, he runs this bit. Well, yeah, he kind of does. But he doesn't know that. He doesn't know that it's just like on October 12th at 12:58 a.m. to October 12th of last year, he put out a Truth Social post and he said, Joe Biden put 276 FBI agents into the crowd on January 6th. Something needs to be done about this. He was the president on January 6th, 2021, not Joe Biden. It wasn't Joe Biden's FBI. Joe Biden had no authority to put FBI agents anywhere. But apparently, at least for that moment, he forgot that he was president on January 6th. President Trump proven not to be Epstein's friend once he learned of Epstein's real reputation. Not true at all. Not true at all. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He said, him and Rudy Giuliani, he encouraged everybody to go there and fight like hell. That was his exact words. And fucking Rudy Giuliani said trial by combat. And Trump did nothing to stop it. Trump could have stopped that whole thing with a tweet. He could have just said, stop, don't do this. And they would have stopped because they'll do anything he says. Obama's FBI orchestrated January 6th. John. Okay, so now I know John Robertson is trolling, I hope, because Obama's FBI, was years before January 6th. I don't even know what the fuck that means. That's how dumb you are. That was AI. What was AI? What was AI? Michael Weggs, I'm going to go to the bottom. What was AI? His exact words were, we're going to walk down there peacefully and I'm going to come and we're going to root. No, Michael Weggs. You didn't see the part where he said, we're going to fight like hell. His whole speech was inciting a riot. You didn't see that? You didn't see his whole speech? Are you telling me he didn't say we're going to go down to the Capitol and fight like hell? You didn't hear that? It's not AI. This was years ago, as you know. No, he didn't. He did not. He did it like an hour into it or an hour and a half into it, I believe. All Democrat donors are in Epstein files. Well, you don't know that, of course. I'll tell you this, though. Elon Musk, the biggest Republican donor, is in there for literally trying to force his way onto Epstein Island. You want to hear it? You want to hear about your Republican friend Elon Musk that bought the election for Donald Trump? Watch. There's an email. I got to get the rest of them. This is just one of them. You see this? Now, there's a guy up at the top. It's part of I did a screenshot when I was watching Tracks NYC, but do you see that right there? Data set 10. You see that file number? You see where it says Trump would auction them off? He measured children's vulva and vaginas by entering a finger. I took that picture from the DOJ website. I took the screenshot. It disappeared the next day. So they're not covering up for Trump, right? That right there disappeared the next day. I'm reading it to you from screenshots I took when I was reading it. Now, Elon, let me get to it. All right. Elon Musk, to Elon Musk from Jeffrey Epstein. Sorry it didn't work out. Just getting over it. How was your trip? Elon responded, no problem. Jeffrey Epstein then said, bad news. Unfortunately, my schedule will keep me in New York. I was really looking forward to finally spending time together with just fun as the agenda. So I am very disappointed. Hopefully we can schedule another time in the near future. And Elon says, actually, I could fly back early on the 3rd. We will be in St. Bart's. when should we head to your island? On the 2nd? Then Epstein said, I need to fly back on the night of the 2nd, and that's it. Then he said, I will come get you. Jeffrey Epstein's next email was, I will come get you. And then Elon said, okay, probably the 1st then. Okay, so that's him asking to go to the island. And there's other emails too from Elon where he's literally saying to him, what's the wildest party night at the island? I want to be there. Liberals think Republicans do the wrong thing by being strict on crime, keeping laws, keeping men out of women's sports and prisons. How do we have such an extreme disconnect? Well, I'll tell you why. Because you're not bright. No offense. I'm not trying to be a dick, but in all seriousness, from what you're reading, I'll tell you why. You're not strict on crime. Okay? Donald Trump, are you fucking serious, Justice? Donald Trump is the first convicted felon ever to be president. You're strict on crime. Even this stuff in the file, you just deny it if it's somebody you like. The ICE guys in the streets right now, they're breaking the law every day. They're killing innocent people. You're worried about that. January 6th, you weren't strict on crime with those guys, right? And then when Trump pardoned all those animals that assaulted 140 police officers, some of which died, you had no problem with that either, right? Donald Trump pardoned the former president of Honduras who trafficked 500 tons of cocaine into our country. You had no problem with that. So you're not strict on crime. And as far as keeping men out of women's sports, that's just your I guess transphobia on display, because people like me, we're not concerned with that. I'm indifferent to it. You know why? Because I actually researched it. And out of 560,000 NCAA athletes in this country, 7 of them are trans. So it's not a big issue. It's not even important, not by any stretch of the imagination. I got news for you. Nothing sports related is. So, yeah. It's so funny because you're strict on crime, but then when we talk about Kamala Harris, you'll be like, yeah, look how many people she put away. And I'll say, well, that's strict on crime. Well, no, because they didn't deserve to be put away. Yeah, okay. What did this guy say? It said, shut up. Shut up. Epstein was a piece of shit. You think he was going to tell the truth? These pieces of shit wanted to destroy Trump and take over America. So you can't sit there. Oh God. He said, you can't sit there, not sit there with euphorious and pass judgment. Yeah. Trump is as much of a piece of shit as Epstein. And yes, I would believe Epstein over Trump any day. What do you mean, John C? Is that in the files? When did that happen? I missed that. Once again, his name isn't mentioned as abusing any victims. It's mentioned as helping to arrest Epstein 2 times. Wow, where did you get that, Zach? Nowhere in the Epstein files did it say he helped to arrest Epstein. And by the way, he never, ever helped to arrest Epstein. He was never an informant. He never worked with the FBI. He never testified against them. Never. I mean, it never happened. But I read numerous excerpts from the Epstein files where he's accused of raping young girls. You could go back through the video if you'd like. Wow. 4 hours after it turned violent. Yeah. It wasn't AI, bro. I saw it with my own eyes when it happened. I saw it with my own fucking eyes. Smart people don't like me yet. Most liberals believe in abortion at any state. No, they don't. Nobody believes in abortion at any stage. That's just what Fox tells you. Republicans think it's a human life and needs to be protected. Why so polar opposite? Because you guys are clowns. I'll tell you why. George Carlin said it best. Republicans are only worried about human life up until the point of birth. After that, you don't give a fuck. He said, and this is beautiful, Republicans want live babies so they can grow up to be dead soldiers. It's true. You'll send people off to war like it's nothing, Republican politicians. Okay. And you don't want free school lunches. You don't want Section 8 housing. You don't want cash assistance. You don't want food stamps so these kids can eat. You're certainly not willing to adopt any of them. You don't want anything that will keep these kids alive. You just want to make sure they're born. And it has nothing to do with human life because you don't care about human life. Okay. You love when ICE agents gun people down in the street and then you laugh and joke about them. You don't care about human life. You care about controlling women. That's what you care about. That's it. Trump wanted an insurrection. Of course he did. The guy, there's pictures of him watching it on TV laughing. He did not call it off right away in no way, shape, or form. He also did not call for the National Guard because I know you guys what you believe, but Nancy Pelosi has nothing to do with the National Guard. She doesn't even have the authority to turn it away. He didn't call for the National Guard right away. Not for a while. When did he finally, actually? I think later on that day or something. No, that's one video. They doctored the video that I'm talking about. It's the same video. They just like cut a part of it out. It was edited. It wasn't AI. It wasn't made up. What you saw in the video was real. It happened. Oh my God. Yeah, I saw Epstein introduce Melania to Trump. Well, Hunter Biden said that, and she said she was going to sue him, and then she never did. Rampage Steve, $5. Trump once said, why take the fifth if you're not guilty? Then in his deposition in New York in 2022, he took the fifth over 400 times. What a hypocrite. That's right. Do us all a favor so you don't look stupid and pull up both speeches on January 6th. What two speeches are you talking about? And I don't look stupid, believe me, guys. You look stupid the fact that you don't know this. We've seen the videos. You haven't, apparently. Let's see. Let me see something here. I'm reading the transcript right now. Jesus Christ. Yeah, he will lay out the evidence. Meanwhile, he never laid out any evidence. Let's see.
Fight like hell. And if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore. It should have been stopped. That's neglect of duty.
Oh, fuck me. Hold on.
As a sheriff, it's awful to watch police officers getting attacked. That's not supporting this badge and this uniform. I have no desire to work with somebody who divides. That's not what America is. But I work with anybody who unites. That's why I'm with President Joe Biden. I'm Joe Biden. You fight like hell. And if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore. It should have been stopped.
That was him saying fight like hell. Like I just told you. But let me guess, it's AI, even though that's a video from like 2020. Totally out of context. No, it's not totally out of context. He was telling them to stop the steal and take back this country and all this shit. And that's what he was saying. And he incited the riot. And it was proven during the hearings and stuff like that. And that's why Trump was indicted for it. And he was impeached for it. He was impeached for it. So stand down and stand by was a different time. That was a different time. That was in an interview. Yeah. He didn't say that. He was in an interview. They said, what are you going to say? Something about the Proud Boys. And he said, Proud Boys, stand back and stand by. That was not on January 6th. No. January 6th was a riot at the Capitol, and 140 police officers were assaulted, and 5 of them died. And 1,600 animals went to prison, and then Trump pardoned them. You forget about that part. There's no really denying this, because the guys that went on trial and went to prison because they were found guilty, were pardoned by Donald Trump. God almighty. No, it was during the debate. Oh, yeah, during the debate. Yeah. There you go. All right, guys, listen, man. I'm exhausted, as you can tell. Fighting with these motherfuckers, man, is Jesus Christ. Yeah, there you go. So I was pro-life till the fetus died, and when the fetus had to be removed, I was pro-choice, but before she would have to decide to bleed out in the parking lot because abortions are illegal now. Well, that's exactly what's happening. Women are dying on the operating table because stuff like that happens, and the doctor's afraid to do anything because he'll go to fucking jail. So they just let the woman die. Hey, Miss Campurell. All right, guys, thanks for everything. I'll see you next time. Peace.